Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Tackle Talk Live, right here from the shores of Sibley Lake in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I'm Ranger Diver Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with my good buddy Kevin Jean, V&M Operations Manager for V&M Baits. And Kevin, we got another great show lined up for today. I mean, we're going to hear from one, not just a legend of the sport, but also one of the co-hosts of the Bassmaster TV series.
Yeah, you know, Mr. Davy Hite, a former Bassmaster Angler of the Year, a former Bassmaster Classic champion. Really going to dive into the new Elite Series schedule, the dates they have. You know, they're going all the way into November this year.
Right.
We had Mr. Marty Stone on Major League Fishing on last week and really broke down their new schedule and their super tournaments. Now we want to jump into the B.A.S.S tournaments and their expended tournament. They're not dropping any tournaments. They're going to have the same amount.
Yep.
But they are going all the way through November, so going to talk with him a little bit about that and kind of get his input on how B.A.S.S will handle all of this.
Right.
So,
and if you didn't see last week's interview with Marty Stone, you need to watch it. It was one of the best interviews that we have ever done. I've been doing this for 13 years. It's definitely one of the best interviews I've ever been involved in. And I'm telling you, Marty did a great job. It's a great interview, very informative information that you got exclusively right here on Tackle Talk Live. So we appreciate Marty coming on last week. We appreciate Davy Hite coming on today, and we're going to get Davy on in just a second. Real quick, Kevin's going to tell us a little bit about one of our sponsors.
the Boat Shop in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you've got any problems with your outboard engine or maybe you just need some minor boat repairs, Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff at the Boat Shop will make sure all your needs are met. A certified Yamaha dealer and home of the best motor on the market today, the Yamaha Show. They now carry a great line of aluminum boats from Sea Arc. So whether you're a crappie angler or a bass fisherman, Sea Arc has a boat to fit your needs. So stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the Boat Shop take care of all your boating needs. Or give them a call at 318-402-0399 or go to shreveportboatshop.com.
Kevin, I don't even know where to start when I describe this guy that we've got on the phone. He's not just a legend of sport. I've known Davey for a while. I've actually done some other interviews with him in the past. Just an absolute first-class, first-rate guy, one of the most knowledgeable anglers that I've known, and I think does a tremendous job. Former Bassmaster Classic champion from 1999. God, Davey, has it been that long? That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
It seems like a very long time ago. But yeah, that was a great moment in my life, no doubt about it. 1999 there in Louisiana, weighing in the Superdome. After just a few years before that, I had a second place finish that, boy, I thought about every single day up until I was able to come out on top there in 99.
Well, you didn't only come out on top there in 99, Davey. You kind of come back with a vengeance and won by 10 pounds.
Yeah, I've told this story quite a few times to different people, but it really, I thought was like a terrible thing that happened when I finished second in the Classic in 96. But I sort of let off the gas, got caught up in the moment, had extra cameras around me all of a sudden the last hour or two of the final day of the Classic there in 96. And I guess counting my chickens before they hatched, so to speak. I thought, wow, I'm going to win a Bassmaster Classic. And I told myself after that was over and George Cochran won, I finished second, that if I ever was in contention again going into the final day of the Classic, that I would not let up at all. So I was fortunate enough to be able to kind of manage my fish through the 3 days and, have my best days on day 2 and day 3 as that Classic progressed. So, just real blessed. I mean, it's a childhood dream of mine, along with, I guess, everybody else has ever fished tournament at any level, from the club level all the way up to making the Bassmaster Classic. It's a dream to be able to hold that trophy over your head. It's like no other experience I've ever had in the fishing world.
Davey, is there any worse experience though than coming in second? How long does it take you? How long did it take you to get over? Because that's life changing. I mean, to win the Classic and to be so close, and we know several anglers have had this opportunity and have made those second place finishes, some more than once. How difficult is it to overcome that and keep moving on?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I think I thought about it every day from the time, the day I finished second until I was able to win. And that was the only way I was going to ever get over it, is to be able to win. I would hate to think that, to have a second place finish and then fish more classics, but never be able to capitalize and get that win. And I did something very dangerous that afternoon that I finished second. I promised my 5-year-old son that I would. He was crying all because he wanted to ride around in the boat inside the Coliseum. That's all it meant to him. But I promised him that we would ride in that boat one day. I would hold that over my head, and it's probably something I should not have done as a father to my son, to make a promise like that. But there again, thank the Lord, I was able to fulfill that promise to him.
Right.
Well, Davey, let's jump into the new B.A.S.S. Elite Series schedule that B.A.S.S. released a couple weeks ago. With the new dates on a couple new lakes. The one thing that jumps out to us, being right here in Texas and Louisiana, is the Sabine River is not on that list, and it was scheduled for this year, but you guys have taken it off. And can you kind of go into why, Davey, or was there complications there, or rescheduling, or what kind of happened there?
Yeah, there were several things. We love going there at Sabine River. The fishing is, tougher than it is on some other places, but it's a great area. I mean, a lot of fans. We always have huge crowds there. Orange, Texas puts a lot into making that an event, basically a festival where they have so many things going on with concerts and so many things for the kids to do, from the trout fishing ponds and the catfishing, all that stuff. It's an event, and really didn't want to go there during the middle of the summer when it's just so hot to come to those weigh-ins for the fans. And later in the year, and there was some issue, you guys probably know this a whole lot better than me, there's some issue about a wildlife area that would be off limits in the fall of the year, and that was a lot of the area that the guys want to fish, so they weren't able to reschedule that, but hopefully we'll try to get them back on schedule for next year.
Well, and you're right, Dave. You make light of the fact that South Louisiana has a different private landowner agreement than other states do that coincide with the Gulf and the marsh. A lot of those areas now are privately owned. Even though you think you're in public marshland, you're really on private property. And there's a big dispute in the state legislature. They're trying to get all that rectified, because I know B.A.S.S. has actually made the statement they're not coming back to South Louisiana until that is corrected. So I felt like that also played a role in B.A.S.S. saying, okay, well, let's just not do it right now. Let's move on to somewhere else. And we, as much as we hate it in Louisiana now, this wouldn't affect Red River and come into the Red River, but it does affect South Louisiana. So, and
yeah, I'd love to definitely see you guys. I think Sabine River is really making a hard comeback, Davey, and I'm sure you know that. And, I think the past y'all been there, it's been really, really tough, but it's starting to really fish well. And I know, possibly if y'all was able to come in the fall, and I know people were getting excited about that, because the fall fishing can be really good over there on Sabine River.
I've heard that, and the last time we were there, I guess 2 years ago, there were some big stringers caught just a little bit before we were there. I think maybe the fishing had dropped off just a little bit because it was, the moon phase, and it had gotten hot. The vegetation wasn't up really good. Like it gets better in the fall and late summer. But I remember, seeing some people post on social media, 20-pound bags to win a tournament, and 9 or 10 pounders being caught. Not a dime a dozen by any means, but the Sabine has not really had a chance to show its true colors, and hopefully, like I said, we'll be there. I hope personally that we can go back there next year and be there at a good time, and we could really showcase what the Sabine River has to offer.
Davey, what's the game plan now? Maybe you've been involved in some of these meetings with proceeding forward with all the COVID-19 stuff that's going on. Changes possibly being made for weigh-ins? Are they going to allow crowds? Are they no crowd? What's the strategy, and what's the plan for B.A.S.S.?
Well, it's this is all new to all of us, and hopefully we won't have to deal with this in the future. But right now, it's going to be a lot of hit and miss, so to speak. I'm pretty sure this first event that we're going to get back going there at Lake Eufaula, they're going to not have crowds at the weigh-ins and in the weigh-in lines and that sort of thing. Social distancing, no marshals in the boats, and that's a big part of it. We love for the marshals to be able to enjoy an experience to be in a boat with one of the top pros in the country. So we certainly hope we don't have to proceed with that as the year progresses on over into the fall. But this first event, I think they're going to be doing everything they can to keep everyone safe and not have any issues, and then we'll go on from there. And then, going up north for those next few tournaments, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But, I think we've learned this in the sport as a whole that, catching big bass is all about we all love that experience. I'm out here fishing today with a good friend of mine and love to catch one just when you're just fishing for fun. But there's nothing like catching big bass and bringing them to a stage and weighing those fish in front of the crowds. I mean, it's all about the crowds and the excitement to be able to bring those fish in and catch them in front of crowds. So I hope we don't have to have many tournaments where we don't have fans there on site.
So Davey, no marshals this year. Will this affect the live coverage? Are we still going to be able to have the cameras in the boat? I mean, and get the full live coverage that we're used to getting?
Yes, we are going to have Bassmaster Live at this first event and all the other events. And the marshals, I'm hoping, and I think the plan is to maybe not have them in this first tournament in June, but then when we get back going in late July, that we'll be able to have marshals again in the boats.
So the only thing not having the marshals would maybe affect the bass track. So as far as in-tournament coverage, that's going to be the only thing affected, I would assume.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing we're also encouraging is the anglers to take 5 or 10 seconds and a couple times a day and punch in their weight, and so we can try to keep up with bass track as best we can. I'm sure some anglers won't take the time to do that, and I understand that, but I think most of the anglers will take a few seconds. They're going to make it real easy where they can just punch in on their phone their weight. So hopefully we'll have a decent idea of what the fishermen have while they're out there on the coverage. But the great thing about it with the Bassmaster Live, after the first day, we will be with those top anglers, and we'll have a camera in the boat with them, so we'll be able to cover them and know what they're doing out on the water. And, I'm excited about the change in the time of year. Some of these lakes that we're going to, we've been to before, but being there in the fall, which we haven't done in a lot of years, I think it's probably the early 2000s when we quit having those tournaments in the fall. But it's going to be really cool to have Bassmaster Live coverage on some late summer and fall fishing. And there's a lot of anglers, including myself, that learn a lot from these guys on Bassmaster Live. And we've been doing it in the spring and in the summer for quite a few years. But it'll be interesting to see some of these, great fishermen fishing in a different time of year, and you can learn different techniques, different patterns for a different time of the year.
Davey, does this kind of level the playing field a little bit, moving the time of year, going into the fall and having these fall and late summer events that a lot of these anglers have kind of been in a routine of spring, early spring, late spring, then it's kind of over. This is going to be a little different dynamic for a lot of these anglers.
That's a great point, no doubt about it. It'll be different. I would think it would be a good deal for the younger anglers that don't have the history at a certain time of year on these bodies of water.
Yes.
And then I think that's a big deal. But then also just seeing anglers fish at different times of year. You have some anglers that excel at sight fishing, some that excel at catching those pre-spawn bass. And you're going to see some anglers that are really good summertime and fall fishermen, and you're going to see the best of that. So I'm excited about that, no doubt about it.
Well, one thing that Kevin and I are interested in, as well as our listening audience, and again, we got Davy Hite on the phone with us. We appreciate Davy taking time out of his fishing day to be on our show. We really appreciate that. But Davy, COVID-19, and again, we know we're treading in water we've never been in before. For professional bass fishermen and those anglers coming up, how will this affect the future of bass fishing from a professional level, do you think?
Well, like you mentioned, it's uncharted territory. I don't know. I think everything's going to be different for a while until we have a vaccine or something that make people feel more comfortable. But I'll be honest with you, and I'm thankful here in South Carolina. They did close our boat ramps, but only for like a week or two. But we've been able to go fishing, and I think it's been pretty much open there in Louisiana and a lot of the other states. But there's some states that they're still not allowed to go out and fish, and I hate that. But a good friend Mark Zona and Kevin Van Dam up there around Michigan that fish a lot of those Michigan waters. It's been real tough on those guys, and I feel as safe out on the water by myself or with a friend or with my family, immediate family. There's nowhere else I could be that I would feel any more comfortable, and I just hope we can get the country back going and open up the lakes and the state parks, and not only for fishing but for the hunting season that'll be coming up in the fall.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So you just brought up, Davey, living there in South Carolina, the Santee Cooper Lakes in October. Is that going to be a whack fest, or what are we looking at there?
Well, I have been able to help with the schedule this past year in particular, and I really felt like, and I guess I'm a little biased because I did help with the scheduling, but I felt like we were going to the premier fisheries in the country at the premier time. But you mentioned Santee Cooper. It would have been better for the entire field, I think, in the month of April. But October has a lot to offer there also. I got a good friend actually that I'm fishing with today that fished a tournament there last fall, and the first day, it was the exact same week we're going to be there with B.A.S.S. And last year, the first day leader of that event had 35 pounds. So there's still going to be some big fish caught. I don't think you'll see the weights all the way down the field in October like you would have in April, but we will see some big fish being caught at Santee Cooper in October.
Now, I've been there for a national finals about 5 years ago for an event, and the lake was way down. There wasn't even water on the cypress trees. And do you foresee that being a factor in this event?
I know the time frame you're talking about, and that's unusual. We had a very dry summer that year, and the water got extremely low for Santee because it's a cypress tree type lake, just flat like a lot of the water there in Louisiana. And when it goes down 5 feet, that's a lot. It's like 10 or 15 feet on other bodies of water with more contour. But that was unusual. I don't expect the lake to be that low. We've been getting quite a bit of rain so far this year, and let's hope it continues.
Well, Davey, another thing that I kind of want your opinion on. You came up to me in what I would call the heyday. Some people may think today, in my opinion, I think the heyday of bass fishing was in the 90s and early 2000s. Man, I really think the popularity of the sport was just incredible. Top names, big-time names, guys that were legends of the sport, all being successful. Is it harder today to reach the Elite Series level than it was, say, maybe 20 years ago?
I think it is, but you're right. I do feel like I kind of came up in the heyday, and I hate to think that we're past the greatest time frame in our sport, and I really don't think that. Right. But it was difficult back then. It really was, and if you look at the history of the sport, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of great fishermen that just weren't able to stay on the elites or weren't able to capitalize on sponsorship dollars and that sort of thing. But even when I look back before I fished in the 70s and the 80s, I was fishing local tournaments, but not fishing B.A.S.S. then. You see the same. You see the cream of the crop rise, and then you see some guys that are just as good, but maybe they don't get that break in the first year or two, and financially they can't be out there anymore. And it's that same way today. It really is. And it's, I learned a lot from people like Guido and Denny Brower, Larry Nixon, and some of those guys. And it's kind of those same old stories. You see great fishermen excel, but you also see some great fishermen that things just don't work out. And, I know personally, had I not won a tournament in my first 2 years of fishing B.A.S.S. after I quit my job, I wouldn't been able to continue and be out there anymore. And I think there were stories many years before that of other people, and I think you still have that today. It's just really tough, and you've got to make relationships with companies and sponsorships and that sort of thing. So I think it's kind of always been that way. It was a great time frame in the late 90s for me, no doubt about it. But I think there's there's lots of great things, to come for young people. Brandon Cobb, for instance, he won 2 tournaments last year, B.A.S.S. He's a young, great star of our sport. Patrick Walters, I'm just mentioning some young guys from the state of South Carolina that have done really well, and I think you'll see a bright future for them. Brandon won, about $250,000 in a few weeks, and a new Toyota truck and all that sort of thing. So, I think it's just always been tough, and it always will be. But, you look at the other professional sports. You look at baseball, basketball, football. There's guys that are superstars at one level, and then, they make it to the NFL in 2 or 3 years, and they're not on a roster anymore. I just think that sports at the highest level, it's just kind of always been that way and always will be that way.
Right. Well, real quick, Davey, I know it's a long ways off right now, but has there been any discussions about next year's Bassmaster Classic with all this stuff going on? Any discussion? And I know you guys have not made a decision yet, and it's a long ways off, but a lot of things going on right now. People are making decisions about things that are a little too far off. But has B.A.S.S. mentioned anything or had any kind of discussions about the 2021 Bassmaster Classic?
Yeah, we've certainly been in discussion and planning towards being able to have a classic as usual, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, who knows if it's, if we're still, I'm going to say, bogged down in this pandemic and still people, losing their lives and these numbers like we've seen, we'll have to do differently. But right now, I've been at some meetings with the folks at B.A.S.S. From tournament director Trip Weldon to the Andersons to, just the whole group, and they're just trying to plan for whatever might happen. But man, we got so lucky this past year being able to have the Bassmaster Classic right before this stuff really kicked in here in the United States. I'm just so thankful that we were able to get that back in, because you can't reschedule a Bassmaster Classic 6 months later like we can these elite tournaments. So I'm just so thankful we were able to get that Classic in this year, and hopefully things will be much brighter, and maybe even a vaccine before Classic time next year. We'll just have to wait and see.
Once again, on the phone with us, Davy Hite, Bassmaster, legendary Bassmaster angler. Davey, the toughest question of all. What's it like to work with Mark Zona?
Well, it's a day-to-day entertainment, I guess. But the thing I get asked so often about Mark Zona is like, is he really like that when he's off camera? And he truly is. And I was fortunate enough to get to know Zona back in the early 90s when we were both fishing B.A.S.S. Invitationals, and we became friends long before we started working together. And, I think the world of him, his wife, his 2 boys, and we get along great. But, Zona's Zona, and he's entertaining. He's fun to be around, whether we're doing Bassmaster Live or, just going out to dinner or whatever. He's great to work with. And, Tommy Sanders, gosh, what a professional in outdoor sports, whether you're talking about timber sports or bass fishing. Tommy is a consummate professional, no doubt about it.
Well, I know with Mark, I have another show I'm involved with. We do an annual Christmas interview every year. We bring Mark on for a 1-hour interview, and he does. And you're right. He's so personable. It's like he's known all of us his whole life, and I assume he's like that with everybody. And I've seen him at ICAST, talked to him frequently. We sat at the airport for an hour and a half one day visiting, and he's just so approachable and such a good person. And Tommy Sanders is the same way.
Yeah, I'm blessed. And, me deciding to stop fishing the Elite Series and taking the job that they offered me to work with those guys on Bassmaster Live, it had a lot to do with who I might be working with or who I would be working with. And, from Dave Mercer to Mark Zona to Tommy Sanders, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to fish just a couple more years maybe, but I did not want to fish into my 60s or 70s full-time on a Bassmaster Tournament trail. I hope and pray I'll be able physically to fish, for the rest of my life. But that tournament trail and being on the road at that point, I had, been fishing full-time for 23 years. I was thinking about what do you do next? Where do you go after you've been able to fish for a living? I don't play golf, or I certainly don't play golf well. And I just didn't know what else I might do. And this was a perfect opportunity for me to be able to stay involved with the sport that I love and cover it and work with some of my closest friends of all time.
Well, the insight that you bring, Davey, is absolutely spot on every time. Your experience as an angler, knowing these anglers like you know them and what they're possibly thinking. I just really appreciate you and Mark and Tommy do an absolute bang-up job when it comes to covering the Bassmaster Elite Tour. And from a fan to you guys, thank you for the job that y'all do.
Well, that means so much. It really does, because I feel a personal responsibility to try to give back to the sport and try to be professional and cover it well. And, I know all about what those guys are going through. I've had a lot of bad tournaments. I've lost big fish that cost me money. I've had a lot of those experiences. I was lucky enough to win a few tournaments, but I failed a lot more times than I succeeded, I guess. And I know what those guys are going through, living on the road and the financial burden when you're just starting, or maybe when you've had a few bad years. And I try to be positive about all that. And I feel like I can be a good, be able to talk in a positive way and be positive towards the sport, because I've been there, done that. I joke when I go fishing with people that haven't fished quite as much as me. If they get a really bad backlash, I can get it out real quick for them. If they get hung, I can usually grab the rod and get hung. And I tell them, you know why I can do that? Because I've been hung and had a lot more backlashes than you. And I think about all the good things and the negative things and try to throw a positive spin on them.
Yeah.
Well, David, we sure appreciate you coming on with us today and kind of breaking this down, the new tournament schedule for us, and we're sure ready to have some Bass Live coverage going on in our life, and really am excited about having Bass Live in the fall and kind of seeing some different techniques.
What an opportunity for Bass Live. I mean, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I really do. I'm excited about it. Going to these lakes at a different time of year and learning late summer and fall techniques from the best anglers in the world, I think is going to be a lot of fun this year. And I appreciate y'all. Enjoy being on with you anytime we can. I love what you guys do for the sport and for the outdoors.
Thank you, Davey. We appreciate you. Go back to your fishing. Have a great day, bud.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Davy Hite, 1999 Bassmaster Classic champion and co-hosts of the Bassmaster TV series. We want to thank Davey for taking time out of his fishing day.
Yeah, he was on the water.
Yeah, he was on the water. I wonder if he was on Santee Cooper. Maybe he was.
I would imagine he was.
But anyway,
the thing that he kind of stood out to there, the first event, they're going to have no marshals. I'm just glad to hear they're not going to limit the number of cameras. We're going to be able to get back to Bass Live coverage like we're used to.
Right.
All the major fishing events seem like we're going to get back to the coverage that we're all, waiting and eager to watch and see. And it really is, going to Lake Fork in November. That's something different that we really don't get to watch. Now, I hear it's probably not going to be the Lake Fork we really want to see.
Right.
But still, being able to see it in the fall, going to be a little cooler weather. Chickamauga in October.
Right.
Going to be different than what we're used to seeing.
And I think, too, Kevin, that's why I asked the question, I think it levels the playing field. Yeah. Some of these guys won't have fall experience on these, but don't get me wrong, they're all great anglers.
Yeah.
But it does make
and they're not going to have the tournament history to look back on.
Exactly. And it could level the playing field. We may see some no-name guys that are trying to make a name for themselves that get that opportunity.
And you've got pretty much a full season left ahead of you for the AOY race.
Oh,
so, that's going to come down, fishing through October and November for the AOY race. It will make it interesting. There's no doubt about it. Something for us to watch while we're getting ready for hunting season to come on as well. So.
Exactly. All right. Now let's switch topics a little bit. Kevin and I are going to talk a little bit about fish care. Guys and gals, summertime is basically almost here. They're talking low 90s temperature later this week. And here we are going in the third week in May. And so those 90-degree days and 95 plus are fixing to be here June, July, August. And there's a lot of events that most of us haven't been fishing in July and August very often, very rare. But now, due to makeup schedules, they've been thrown into those months. And fish care is going to be so important, Kevin, this really summer more than it has in the past.
It really is. And the one tip, and I've talked about this on Tackle Talk Live Tips of the Week before, the one tip I can have, and not many people use, is the fish clips. These are the belly weights that you can clip on the fish's bottom torso, bottom fin, that will allow the fish to stay upright in the live well.
Now, why would you attach that? What's the purpose of that?
It allows the fish to get oxygen. When fish die, you look in the live well and they're on their side.
But is it because they came out of shallow water or deep water?
Deep water, medium deep water.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 10 foot to above.
Right.
That oxygen when they come up out of the water column so fast.
Right.
Instead of having to fizz the fish
and release that air in that bladder,
and release the air in the bladder, and taking a risk of taking too much air out, not taking enough air out, or hitting the wrong spot when you fizz the fish clips allows the fish to get upright and correct themselves. Rather than you as a fisherman having to fizz them. These are the Fish Life fish clip that I really like because they're off the actual clip. There's a lot and I have all types. I have all types of different brands, and I'm a deep guy. I like fishing deep a lot, so I fish these a lot. I have about 15 or 20 weights in my boat at all times. I like these because they hang off the clip. The fish don't shake them as well as the ones that weight are right on top of the clip. The clips, the fish will shake or move around live well if it gets in rough water, and the weights come off, and you have to look back in there and reattach them. And we know we don't like to handle the fish as much, especially in hot summer months. So these stay on a little bit longer. So I highly encourage you to have several fish clips in your boat this time of year, just to keep them fish upright, keep them less stressed in the live well.
Another thing too that comes, this fish care kit that's in front of Kevin here. This is from Fish Life Products and Fish Care Products, and when that kit you get some of the clips. You also get a Ben's mender. Yeah, Ben's mender that helps fizz the fish. There are videos out there to watch for that, and there's also instructions on a lot of these on how to do it. But there's also a chemical you can put in your live well that's also made by Fish Life Products, live well treatment. This stuff right here is really good. They help regenerate the slime on the fish, re-energize the fish. So when you take them out of the live well after a nice long day, these fish come out of there, they're ready to go back into the lake, and they're in great shape going back into the lake. And along with your oxygenator, this chemical right here, and maybe a little bit of ice, a way to cool your water down. It's very important this summer. And again, you want to try to keep those fish as healthy as you possibly can, because summer times stress fish out more than any other time of year. And the longer they're in that live well, the tougher it is for them to recover. So give them every opportunity you can with ice, good chemical, and don't be afraid to put enough chemical in there. Now, you got to be careful with certain chemicals like the granules. You can overdo it with certain products because they add too much ammonia to the water. So you got to be careful of that, and you can actually kill your fish. But with these fish care products, you won't have that issue. Another great product they've got, Kevin, is the live well cleaner. That's something I never thought about. I've cleaned my live wells with just wiping them out or, just regular water, but I never knew that there was a good chemical out there. And when you use this stuff right here,
especially if you go into different lakes, from a Red River to a Toledo Bend or vice versa, the stuff that's in your live well, it's good to get all that out of there. Start fresh with the lake you're going to. That way you're not carrying different species or anything from different lake to lake.
Yep, and this stuff here eliminates bacteria that's inside your live wells. And what you do is you spray this in your live well all around the walls. And if you want to scrub it, you can scrub it. But then you turn water on and pump water into your live well. When you do that, get a little water in the bottom, pump the chemical as you washed it off, pump it back out. But as you pump it out, stop the pump for 5 minutes. Once there's chemical in the hoses and the pump, it will actually clean your hoses and your pump at the same time. After 5 minutes, turn it back on, pump all that water out, put fresh water in, pump it out again, rinse it really good, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, again, great product by Fish Care Products.
And Steve, a lot of tournaments pushing back to the summer months, and we talked about this in an earlier show. Really anxious to see how many of these big tournaments that's never fished during the summer go to the 3-fish format.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of these Texas Team Trail, Bass Champs they don't have as many tournaments in the summer as what they're going to have this year. But there's going to be a lot of those tournament circuits go to a 3-fish format. And that's different for a tournament fisherman that hasn't fished in the summer.
And some of your big fish tournaments may postpone some of their stuff to the fall, But some of your circuits don't have any choice. They're trying to get a number of tournaments in the books, and that's how they're structured. They're not structured with just 1 or 2 events. They're structured with 4 or 5 events. So they're trying to get a lot of those.
And they got to
in the
have their
books.
championship in the fall.
And their championships are always in the fall, usually October, November. So, again, you can't be too cautious, and you can't do too much fish care when it comes to taking care of these bass in your
And
live
check
well.
on your fish throughout the day. You know, if you catch one at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, you throw him in a live well. Don't just, put him in a live well, he's good to go. Guys, it's hot in that live well. You need to check on them every 30 minutes or so. Make sure they're upright. And all of a sudden they start turning to their side. That's when you go to the fish clips or fizzing or adding more ice. Whatever you need to do, you have to check on those fish every hour for sure.
Some guys use this as a tool to set their alarms on when they want to check on their fish. And this is a great tool to have in your boat. Use your phone as an alarm system and make sure you check on them regularly. Also, too, when you're measuring those fish on a bump board, make sure you wet the board first. If it's been laid out on the deck of that boat and that sun is beaming on it, it's even hot to pick up. Dip it in the water. That fish you don't want to burn the fish or take some of that slime off of him. And also try to keep the fish off the carpet. You know, I know Major League Fishing, that's a violation, 2-minute penalty. Well, there's a reason for that, because it does harm the fish. It takes a very valuable slime off their body that's essential for their health.
Right.
So try to keep your fish off the carpet. Wet your board if you're going to put them on the bump board. And again, we can't stress enough fish care. So because we don't want to give certain organizations any more ammunition to try to shut us down from tournament fishing.
Absolutely.
Because they're out there,
and
Kevin.
we got to get these fish back in the water.
Yes.
And when we're weighing them in at tournaments, hopefully we're decreasing our line size at the tournament, especially this summer. They're probably going to have drive-through weigh-ins and so on and so forth. But get your fish back in the water as soon as possible, especially if you're culling. Make that a quick process. The use of fish clips, which I know you're fixing to talk about. You got to have the use of all this stuff to limit your culling process, to limit your the amount of time your fish is out of the water, so on and so forth. Got to get these fish back in the water as quickly as possible.
And speaking of the clips, a lot of us, my generation especially, Kevin coming up, we all had the metal clips. You puncture the jaw of the fish or the lip, and you run it through there, and you tag the fish, drop him in the live well. That does so much damage to a fish. We never thought about it for years. Nobody ever really brought light to it. Now they've come up with these clips. Some organizations are requiring you to use these type of clips, and these are easy to use. They're very handy. They're easy to work. You just clamp it on. It's easy to get off the fish, and you open it back up, take the fish off, cull, whatever you got to do, and you didn't puncture a hole in the jaw or the lips of those fish. You don't want to do that. This helps you to avoid that. If you're an old school angler, I encourage you to buy you a set of new culling rings, and they're out there. You can get them at any one of the tackle stores, tackle warehouse,
and
tackle attic.
One thing I like to use it with them, especially in the summer, if I know a fish is struggling, I can look in there and pull up, all right, fish 3 was on his side. Yeah. So I'm going to throw a clip on him and go back to fishing. 30 minutes later, I'm going to come back. I don't have to go searching through the live well. I can say, I can grab buoy number 3 and pull that up. I know that was the fish that was struggling earlier. Kind of check on him, make sure he still has the weight on his fin, and let him back down in the water. Again, it limits the time that you're handling the fish, putting your hands on the fish, and just helps you, not have to put the fish in any more stress, basically.
Real quick, we're going to give you a few updates. The Cowboy BFL division, Lake of the Pines, is coming up June 13th. ABA Open Series. Got 2 back-to-back days, June 20th and 21st. Again, the 20th is a regular scheduled event on Sam Rayburn. 21st is a makeup event. East Texas Division will kick off their ABA circuit again on Bob Sandlin, June the 13th. And Sealy Big Bass Splash is coming up June 12th, 13th, and 14th on Lake Gunnersville in Alabama. And Toledo Bend's not till July, so we'll give you more update on that as that gets closer.
The Skeeter Owners Tournament at Lake Fort has been canceled for the year. It is usually in June at Lake Fork, and they just went ahead and canceled that event outright. I hate to see that. That's one of the most legendary, popular tournaments that we have in our area, and but hopefully they're coming back in 2021 and be bigger and better than ever.
Yeah, one thing we want to reach out to you, our listening audience, our viewing audience. If you've got a topic you'd like for us to talk about, something you're interested in, you think would be a good topic, please send us a message on our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. And again, we do appreciate everybody listening and tuning us in each and every week and watching us. So also real quick, the boat shop, if you're looking for a used boat, right now, there's going to be a lot of used boats on the market. A lot of people losing their jobs. They can't pay for boats that can't meet that note. Boats are going to start going back to bank institutions, and they're going to be coming in for trade-in or whatever.
Or if you need motor work done on that new boat.
Yeah, or if you need work done. But Raymond's got a great selection of used boats already up there at the boat shop up there in Shreveport. So stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let them show you what they have to offer, along with a new line of Sea Arc aluminum boats that they have to offer as well. Again, stay tuned. Kevin's coming up with our tip of the week. And we want to invite you to continue to watch. If you want to be a better angler, continue to watch Tackle Talk Live.
Hey guys, Kevin here with your Tackle Talk Live weekly tips. Want to talk to you this week about storing your umbrella rigs, whether it be in your rod box or on your front deck during the day while you're fishing, just to simply get them out of your way. On the front deck, if you've got all this mess out and about, it's hard to store other rods around or on the deck with them. My biggest pet peeve is it's just they're hard to travel with when you're putting these in the rod box. I like to have one rigged up. These things take forever to get rigged. I like to have one rigged up traveling so I can put it in the rod box so it's ready to go. And I stole this from a buddy of mine in Alabama, and I know a lot of you guys have already done something similar to this or using something similar. But for those of you who haven't heard or don't really know the best way to store your umbrella rigs, just want to kind of give this tip out there this week. Something I do and a lot of my friends do. We use a zip tie. We take a regular medium version zip tie, something with some good thickness so it won't break. This is a Flash Mob Junior rigged with 5 E&M lockdown heads and 5 Thunder Shad Juniors, completely rigged out, ready to fish. And we just take a regular zip tie, and we zip it to around the line on the front of the head. This one's already rigged. This umbrella rig's rigged, tied onto my rod, ready to cast. And we cinch it down pretty tight, okay? So we let it fall onto the head. Tighten it up a little bit more there. So now all we got to do is pull it down over the wires, make sure it's tight enough to hold those wires in place. As you can see, tighten it a couple more times there, okay? Now, take our pliers, grab our pliers here. Take our pliers and clip off that access zip tie. So, now you're able to travel. You're ready to put it on the front deck. When you're ready to fish, when you want to pick it up and fish, you simply squeeze your wires together, pull your zip tie up over the top of your head, and your wires break loose, okay? So, now, when you cast, of course, it's going to go up your line. And when you start to retrieve, it's going to fall. It's going to fall right back below your head on top of those wires. Guys, this isn't going to affect anything. It's not going to affect your hookup ratio. It's not going to affect the way the swim bait runs. It's not going to hurt anything. That zip tie is sitting on top of them wires like that. When you get through fishing, whether you make 4 or 5 casts, whether you fish with it for an hour, and you want to grab another rod, you simply pull the wires back together, pull the zip tie down over the top of them, and there it sits. We set it right back down on the front deck. I get ready to cast it again. I pick up the rod, pull the zip tie up, let the 5 wires span out. I'm ready to make my cast. Again, it's just a real simple, quick method that allows you to slide that zip tie up and down whenever you're ready to fish. Not fish. You don't have to take something off, store it. When you get ready to put it on the front deck, get it back out. Just a quick, and I know especially you tournament fishermen, it's something we want quick and easy. We don't have to be up and down, getting out of storage, so on and so forth. So this is just, like I said, a little small secret that I stole from a buddy of mine, Mr. Jimmy Mitchell. over in Alabama. I don't know where he got it from. I don't know if somebody showed this, if he stole it off another tips video or what. He told me about it, and I have been using it like this for 4 or 5 years now. And this way I can rig it and have it rigged with me all day, and I can store it easy, and it just doesn't get in the way. It doesn't hook, all your other lines and rods and reels and everything else. Simple zip tie, clip off the extra piece, slide it up and down, you're ready to go. Great little tip for storing your umbrella rigs and for storing them on your front deck during use. So it's been working for us here around Toledo Bend for a long, long time, and I know it will for you. So hopefully this helps you out with your umbrella rigs in the future. So appreciate you guys watching, and keep checking out your Tackle Talk Live tips of the week.